I'm really excited to continue this series we've been in called Disciple. If you haven't been a part of this message series so far, I want to give you a little context for where we've been. We started with these words of Jesus, these very simple words, 3 words, in fact, that he spoke to people that didn't earn it, that didn't deserve it, that were already looked over. And he said, hey, I want you, people like you, to come follow me. Come follow me, and I will make you into fishers of men. I will disciple you. I will apprentice you. You are my students. Jesus says, come follow me. And we've just traveled through the last several weeks on what does that mean? What does it mean to follow Jesus? What does it mean to live as his disciple? And today I want to take you to a passage that's part of Jesus' last few conversations with his disciples before he left earth. Jesus had, as we celebrate in Easter, right, Holy Week, these several key pivotal moments as Jesus went to the cross and to the tomb and to raise again. These moments, these conversations where Jesus exchanged these parting truth, these parting words with his disciples. I want to take you to John chapter 15 today. We'll be in the first 8 verses of the 15th chapter of John. These are the words of Jesus. He says this, I am the true vine, and my Father is the gardener. The Father cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit, while every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes so that it'll be even more fruitful. You are already clean because of the word I've spoken to you. Remain in me as I also remain in you. Pause button. A chapter before, in John chapter 14, Jesus talks about what we experienced a couple weeks ago, that Jesus was going to leave. He was going to return back to heaven, but he wasn't going to leave them as orphans. He wasn't going to leave them alone. He was going to send the Holy Spirit, not to just be around them or with them, but to be inside of them. And Jesus says, as I also remain in you. Some translation says, as I also will remain in you. He goes on, no branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Neither can you bear fruit unless you remain in me. He's like, let's run it back. Let me say it one more time, guys. I am the vine. You are the branches. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. Apart from me, you can do nothing. If you do not remain in me, you're like a branch that is thrown away and withers. Such branches are picked up, thrown into the fire, and burned. Anybody burning some brush lately? Fall in Michigan, right? You're doing some yard cleanup. If you remain in me and my words remain in you, Jesus says, ask whatever you wish and it will be done for you. This is to my Father's glory. This whole reality, this whole picture I'm giving to you, this is for my Father's glory and for your good, that you bear much fruit, showing yourselves to be my disciples. Showing yourselves to be my what? Disciples. Jesus, this last conversation. And if you didn't notice, there's a lot of repetition in this. And that's not just because Jesus couldn't find something better to say. You know your friend that says like 49 times the conversation, right? Or you get a word and you get stuck on that. This is not Jesus in this. Jesus is not trying to just fill words, and so he keeps saying this word remain in me. Maybe you caught it. We read it 8 times in that passage, 8 times in 8 verses. In John chapter 15, Jesus says that phrase a total of 10 times. And Jesus is helping them see in this last conversation, he says, hey guys, you are hardwired as people. You're hardwired as individuals to remain in something, to be attached to something. He said in this last conversation, guys, don't forget to make it me. I'm the vine, you're the branches. It's this picture, and Jesus is saying something to them. He's saying something in this metaphor of branches and root systems and being connected. He's saying something to them. And what I love about Jesus' words is he's not asking them to do something that they're not already doing. He's not asking his disciples to start doing something they're not currently doing. He's starting with the premise. He's starting with the understanding, with the foundation that we are all attached to something. We all have a vine. We all have a vine. We all have a vine. And Jesus uses the word remain. It means to make your home in. It means to return. It means to abide and make your residence in, to stay connected to something. We all have a vine. Think about it this way. we all have a place we run to and return to, especially in seasons of stress, or when you're trying to find an answer to something, or when you're trying to soothe a pain or escape from something. We all have a place. Some of us, it's external. It's a person. It's a habit. It's a substance. It's a pattern of living or escaping. Some of us, it's internal. When we have to find comfort, think about home, right? You find comfort there. You find rest there. We all have a place that we call home. We return to something. Jesus is saying, you already have somewhere that you're attached to. You already have a vine. What's the place for you? Where do you run to when life is doing what it does? Who or what do you turn to when life is doing what it always does? It doesn't work how we planned it. The situation doesn't pan out how we wanted to. Where do you run in those times? Is it inward? Is it the device in your pocket where it's easier to numb or escape? Is it something outward? Is it a group? Is it a person? Where do you return home to? Chrissy and I have two kids. My wife Chrissy and I have two kids, and our oldest is about 2.5, and our second is 6 months as of yesterday. And so we're still just trying to figure him out. The 2.5-year-old, we got a little rhythm down. Samuel, our second born, we're like, man, you are still a mystery some days. But we had a third addition join our household recently. It's been a learning curve. This being actually sleeps in our room. It's a robot vacuum. It's a robot vacuum. Yep. The newest member of the Gorveatte household is a robot vacuum. It's a robo-rock, to be exact. And Christy and I went back and forth for several weeks, probably if not months, on the necessity of said robot vacuum. And I think for me, it was a pride issue of like, man, I am not lazy. I do not need someone else to vacuum my house, okay? I said to her yesterday, I don't think I've touched a vacuum in like 3 weeks. So maybe it's paying off. Maybe it's earning its stay. But this robot vacuum is really interesting. But one of the things I can't stand about the robot vacuum is just the sound, right? Everything's peaceful and quiet. Like maybe the kids are down for a nap, and then you just hear it coming around the corner. You're like, oh, come on, just be quiet. Where's the silent mode, right? And so my sister and brother-in-law were over for dinner the other night, and Chrissy was kind of tightening some things up, and we were trying to get things ready for them, and the robot vacuum was going. And so my sister and brother-in-law, they come in, and we're getting them settled, and Thea's all excited to see them and whatnot, and we're about to start into dinner, and that robot vacuum's going. And I'm like, man, that is just like, I just had enough of the robo-rock. And so I go over, and I press the power button, which just stops. It just goes on pause, right? And Christy's like, what are you doing? I was like, I just need it. I just need this to be quiet now. I need our third child to just have a pacifier for a second, okay? So I pressed the thing, and she said, well, press the home button. Press the home button. So I press the power button, then I press the home button, and it does this little turn thing, and goes like, and gets the brushes going, and then it returns back to our room, back to this charging port. I was like, oh, that's kind of nice. Just, you don't want it, just send it home, right? We all have a place we return to. We all have a charging port. When life does what it does, in seasons of stress, or looking for satisfaction or for comfort, we have a home button. We have a honing device that we return to, that we find safety and security in. Jesus isn't asking them, when he says, remain in me, he's not asking them to do something they're not already doing. He's touching on a nerve. He's talking about something they're hardwired to do, that their roots are in some kind of vine. Jesus also talks about fruit. He talks about the vine, but then he talks about fruit. And fruit, you can think of it, it's the good things in life that we all want to experience or to be expressed through our lives. Like we all We all want a sense of joy. We all want a sense of peace. We all want to have a contribution into the world. We all want to live a life that's meaningful. Jesus is saying, hey, you are hardwired. You are hardwired to want fruit. Now, Jesus' disciples were chasing this in some way by following Jesus. You got to know people in the room. Yes, they had some pure motives in following Jesus. Like they kind of thought he's the Messiah. They kind of knew it. They thought he knew what he was talking about. But there was some impure motives in the room. Judas is in the room, who would betray Jesus, give him over to the Roman authorities. Judas was in the room. The same disciples who asked Jesus who was they were going to be at their right or his left, they're in the room. Peter, who knocks a guy's ear off with a machete, he's in the room. Jesus knows, hey guys, you all want to live life that bears fruit, that has good coming out of it and good around it. Now, we all want that. We all pursue that in different ways. Right? I'm going to go achieve something or acquire something that'll make me feel that. Or I'm going to have a relationship. I'm going to have this place that I run to, and it's going to make me feel secure or worth something or validated or comforted. Jesus is saying, he's not asking them to do something with the vine that they're not already doing, and he's not asking them to pursue something they don't already want. He's just saying, hey guys, you are hardwired to find your roots, to put your home in something, make it me, and out of that, you'll bear fruit. To sum it up, you could say this way. Jesus says, remain in me as I also remain in you. No branch can bear fruit by itself. It must remain in the vine. Again, he says, I'm the vine, you're the branches. There's a progression here. There's a truth. There's a reality here. To sum up Jesus' words, to sum up the invitation of Jesus, this reality, it's with this. If we follow Jesus intentionally, fruit will follow naturally. If we follow Jesus intentionally, make him the vine, make him the source, remain in me, attached to him, intentionally, deliberately, faithfully, fruit will follow naturally. Jesus is saying it will come. If you make your source the right source, if you make me the right home that you need, fruit will come. The good things will come. Your life will change. Good things will surround you. If you follow me, if you remain in me, showing yourself to be my disciples. If we follow Jesus intentionally, fruit will follow naturally. And here's the reality. For those of us who call ourselves Jesus followers, or if we would think about following Jesus, there's a part of life and there's a part of faith in life with Jesus that Jesus expects good fruit. Jesus expects good fruit. You read about Jesus. He said, a good tree will produce good fruit. Another part, he says to his disciples, the kingdom will be taken away from those who don't bear fruit and given to those who do. Another part in the scriptures, right? You reap what you sow. Jesus has an expectation. He has designed our lives to bear good fruit. And Jesus expects that from us. There's a responsibility. There's a weight. There's an expectation from Jesus. Jesus expects it. And so should we. So should we. We shouldn't expect to follow Jesus for 10 years and nothing to be different about our life. We shouldn't expect to follow Jesus for 6 months and nothing to start to shift and change and morph in our life. Because here's the reality. I want Jesus to save me. Yes, I do. But I want him to transform me too. I want his grace and his mercy that overlooks my sin, that casts it from the east to west. But man, I need some healing because I'm messed up emotionally. Right? I want him to save me, yes, but I want him to continue to transform me. I want him to continue to move me along and grow. And Jesus expects that kind of fruit, and so should I. I should expect to change. I should expect for good things to start to grow and blossom and move in my life. If that's not going to happen, then what's the point of following him right here and right now? Jesus expects that, and so should we. We can have a healthy expectation that our lives would bear good fruit. And I'm going to give us just 2 requirements for that kind of fruit. 2 requirements. The first thing, I don't know much about gardening, I don't know much about fruit trees, but I know this, that fruit requires healthy conditions. Healthy conditions. Jesus even gives us this picture, right? It's like, remain in me, stay in the right environment, stay connected to me. If you remain in me and I in you, you will bear much fruit. That is a conditional statement, right? Any teachers in the room? If, then. If you remain in me, then you will bear much fruit. And fruit requires healthy conditions. It requires a healthy environment for his fruit to grow in and through us. And here's the reality, that his job is the fruit, my job is the conditions. It is Jesus' job. That's why in the book of Galatians, it's called the fruit of the Spirit. But it's the conditions of Joel. Do I have the right conditions for the vine to produce fruit out of me in and through my life? And fruit can't be forced, but it can be nurtured. And is my life suitable and healthy conditions for God's fruit to grow in and through my life? The Center for Bible Engagement, which does research on how to engage the Bible and what's true in the U.S. and abroad of people studying and understanding the Bible, has landed on this number, 4 out of 7. 4 out of 7. They did this study. How many touch points with the Bible specifically does it take for things to start to change in people's lives? Right? Because we all know people that maybe they have a Christian bumper sticker or they got some verses memorized, but their life maybe doesn't reflect the same values and the same principles and priorities of Jesus and his kingdom. And they said, what does it take for those things to start to change? What does it take for depression to start to change? For anxiety or worry to start to change? And they landed on this number, 4 out of 7 days a week. If someone can engage the scriptures 4 out of 7 days out of the week, things like depression starts to go down. Anxiety and worry starts to subside. Thoughts of anger or things like substance abuse starts to go down. And things like sharing their faith or memorizing scripture, discipling other people, those things start to rise up. Well, why is that? Why is that? Engaging the Bible every once in a while is helpful. Engaging the Bible consistently is transformative. It helps create the conditions. And that 4 out of 7 stat just tells that. And there's nothing magic about 4 out of 7. There's magic and there's a principle there about rhythms and conditions and an environment for his fruit to grow. When I engage the Bible consistently, it goes from the page to the head to the heart. And that's when the conditions start to grow for God's wisdom to flourish in my life, his patience to flourish in my life. His job is the fruit. My job is to say, are the conditions healthy? Because fruit requires healthy conditions. The other thing fruit requires is time. Sufficient time. Fruit just takes time. And following Jesus is about living the long game. It's about days and decades. It's about saying, Jesus, I'm going to stick in this process of transformation, of growth. I'm going to have like the robot vacuum. I'm going to have the consistency of a daily charging, of a returning back to the source, of staying rooted in the vine. And that just takes time. It takes time to rewire and reframe emotions. It takes time to refire and reframe our mental pathways and thoughts and habits and family of origin and all the things we bring into life. It takes time because God saves us in a day, but he transforms us daily. He saves you in a day. You're no less saved on your way to heaven than you were when you first believed Jesus, but I hope you're more like him today than you were back then. He saves us, redeems us, heals us, forgives us in a day, but he transforms us daily in healthy fruit. Fruit that lasts, like Jesus would say. It just takes time. I love this picture in the book of Colossians. It plays off this metaphor. It says this, so then just as you received Christ Jesus as Lord a day, continue to live your lives in him daily, rooted and built up in him. There's this expectation that it takes time, it takes rhythms, it takes seasons to bear this kind of fruit. Jesus is saying, you are hardwired to find your attachment in your roots, in your home, in something. He's saying to his disciples before he leaves earth, he's saying to us today, please make it me. Make it the right foundation. Make it the right home. Remain in me, and you will bear much fruit. Have the right conditions. Commit to the time. If we follow Jesus intentionally, fruit will come naturally. It'll come. It'll come in that process you're in right now, where it feels like, man, will I ever get over this issue? The fruit is coming, and it will come. In the relationship where you feel like you're at a halt, it feels like there's no way forward. If we follow Jesus consistently, intentionally, he will bear good fruit in us and through our lives. As I thought about this reality of grapes and grapevines and gardening and all that stuff, I came across this term called grafting. Grafting. And very simply, grafting is when you take two things that are not together and put them together to make something new. You think about skin graft, or in this case, you can do this with plants. And there's a thing in grapevines that you can actually form these two vines together to create a new kind of grape. And what's really interesting is in this process, they'll make in the existing plant what they call a cut or a T-cut. It's what's the rootstock is the existing plant. And there's a thing called a scion. I said that right, in Jesus' name, I think. A scion, and they'll take that, and that's the new shoot. That's the new plant that they'll attach to the existing plant. And what they make is they'll sometimes call it a T-cut, and they'll insert the new plant into the existing rootstock. And catch this. The rootstock, when it is cut, it will do what they call weeping, or sometimes they'll call bleeding. It will bleed for a period of days. And when that new shoot is attached to the rootstock, they'll wrap a gauze-type bandage around it, almost like a soft tape to hold it there. You see it in the diagram. To let these two join together. Some of you are tracking. Some of you need a little help here, okay? So we'll continue on with the illustration. Let's go all the way back to biology class. Do you remember xylem and phloem? Anybody? Be super honest. Don't just, okay. All 4.5 of us. Okay, I didn't either before today. So xylem, they're both transportation systems for nutrients of the plant. Xylem transports water and minerals from the roots up into the plant. Phloem translates sugars from the leaves to the rest of the plant. Okay, so there's these transportation systems in the plant. Well, when that T-cut is made, those transportation systems pause. Right? And that's what causes the bleeding, because the substance, the nutrients of the plant are being bled out. There is, when the new plant is rejoined in, what they call phloem regeneration and xylem regeneration. Phloem typically happens first. How many days does it take for phloem regeneration to happen? Typically 3 days. 3 days. Some of you are tracking here. Some of you need some help. So we're gonna. It's not Easter yet, but some of you need some help today. I can't help but wonder, as Jesus is in this garden, hours, this is on Thursday night before Good Friday. I wonder if Jesus had in his mind the process of grafting. I wonder if he thought, remember, Jesus was there, we know from Colossians chapter 1, Jesus was there from the beginning. John chapter 1 starts with that. Like, in the beginning was the Word, that's Jesus. The Word was with God, and he was God. I wonder if Jesus, the firstborn of all creation, who was there at the beginning, I wonder if he thought about grafting. Some 12 hours or so before this Good Friday process would start, even less. He went to the cross as he was cut open on a T. And as he thought about the reality that he was inviting them into, this process of grafting. And I love that we celebrated baptism today, because it's this reminder that we are separate from God. We are far off. We are on our own thing, and we need to be grafted into the vine. We need to make our roots into him. And I wonder if Jesus thought about that. His disciples, they surely were clueless, right? They didn't know. But I wonder if Jesus said, man, that's a great picture for what I'm about to do on the cross. This is a great picture for what I'm about to do for my disciples, for those I love. I'm going to graft you in. We actually see this in the book of Romans, chapter 11. It says this, and you Gentiles who were branches from a wild olive tree, which is, unless you're Jewish in the room, that's all of us, okay? We're the Gentiles. We're not the chosen people originally for the first people of God. Branches from a wild olive tree, you have been grafted in. And so now you also receive the blessing of salvation in this Messiah, Jesus. God has promised Abraham and his children, sharing in the rich nourishment from the root of God's special olive tree. We've been grafted in. And so today, this great reminder from Jesus said, hey, I've already invited you to be included. I've already opened the invitation for you to be grafted in. So remain in the vine. If you're a Jesus follower here today, remain in the vine. If you follow him intentionally, consistently, faithfully, deliberately, if you make your home in him, fruit will follow naturally. And some of us in the room, all of our locations today, all of our environments, this question of, does some of us need to be grafted into that vine? Do some of us need to be grafted into the vine to join our lives with Jesus? Maybe for the first time, maybe again today, to recommit, to rejoin ourselves. Jesus say, Jesus, man, I've tried to follow you on my own terms. I've tried to do my own thing and ask you to bless it. I've wandered away. I've been close to church, but God, honestly, if I'm honest, I'm far from you. My heart is not surrendered to you. Would you be grafted into the vine, who says, I am the source. I am the foundation. I'm the one who's worthy of building your life on, of putting your roots in. For some of us, it's just a reminder, man, would I remain in Jesus? Would I make my home? Would I make my roots in him today? For some of us, maybe that's a first-time decision or a re-surrendering decision.